Alex stepped off the small shuttle and onto the soft, alien soil. The air smelled faintly sweet, like flowers mixed with ozone, and the sky above shimmered in colors he had never seen before, deep purples blending into golds and greens. He took a careful step forward, feeling the crunch of the strange crystalline plants beneath his boots. This was uncharted territory, and every sound, every movement around him reminded him how small and fragile a human could feel in such a vast, alien world. His mission was simple in words but difficult in practice. Study the alien civilization rumored to exist on this planet and make contact. Reports suggested the inhabitants were highly advanced, intelligent, and cautious around outsiders. That meant Alex had to be careful. One wrong move, one wrong gesture, and his presence could spark fear or hostility. As he moved through a dense forest of glowing, translucent trees, he noticed strange creatures skittering across the undergrowth. Some looked like oversized insects with iridescent wings, while others had long, lithe bodies that shimmered when they moved. Alex's heart raced with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. This was what he had trained for. This was why he had volunteered for this mission. Then he saw her. At first, she seemed almost a part of the forest. Her skin glowed softly under the alien light, and her long hair shimmered like liquid silver. She moved gracefully, every step deliberate and quiet, as if she belonged here more than he ever could. Her eyes, large and expressive, seemed to take in everything at once, observing, judging, calculating. She was beautiful, strikingly, impossibly beautiful. But there was an air of authority about her that immediately put Alex on edge. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice melodic yet firm. Even though she spoke in her own language, a small device on Alex's wrist translated it instantly into English. "I am Alex," he said, keeping his voice calm and even. "I am a human here to explore, learn, and, if possible, make contact with your people." She studied him closely, tilting her head slightly. "A human? Alone?" There was disbelief in her tone, but also curiosity. "Why are you not afraid?" Alex smiled faintly. "I've faced many dangers in my life. Fear is natural, but courage is choosing to move forward despite it." The princess's eyes narrowed slightly as if she were assessing him for some invisible test. "Courage. Or arrogance?" she murmured to herself. She stepped closer, her movements so fluid and graceful that Alex had to resist stepping back. There was something hypnotic about her, something that made him aware of every detail. The sharpness of her jawline, the softness of her skin, the intensity in her eyes. But he reminded himself to stay focused. He had a mission, and distraction could be dangerous here. "You will have to prove yourself," she said finally, her voice commanding now. "Humans are weak. They are fragile. You may have words, but can you act?" Alex nodded. "I am willing to try. I do not fear work, challenge, or difficulty." A small smile touched her lips, almost imperceptible. "We shall see," she said. "Follow me." He followed her through the forest, amazed at how easily she navigated the uneven terrain. She led him to a clearing where the ground was flat and smooth, surrounded by tall crystalline formations that reflected the alien sunlight like mirrors. In the center, she stopped and turned to face him fully. "This will be your first test," she explained. "You must complete a task not with strength, but with mind and heart. You will face challenges designed to reveal who you truly are. Only then will you earn the right to speak freely with me." Alex swallowed. "I understand." The first challenge was simple in explanation, but complex in execution. A device appeared in the center of the clearing, a floating orb that pulsed with light. Around it were symbols he did not recognize, shifting and changing. His task was to activate the orb correctly, using intuition and observation rather than brute force. He approached it cautiously. The orb seemed to respond to his movements, changing color when he moved his hands near certain symbols. He noticed a pattern in the sequence: light, shadow, reflection, then pause. Using logic and observation, he followed the sequence, his hands moving slowly and carefully. After several tense minutes, the orb emitted a bright light, then settled into a calm, steady glow. The princess's eyes widened slightly. "Impressive," she said. "Few outsiders have completed even the first task. You have patience, attention, and the ability to learn quickly." Alex allowed himself a small smile. "Thank you." But the tests were only beginning. Over the next several hours, Lyra led him through a series of trials designed to measure not only intelligence but empathy, adaptability, and courage. One trial involved navigating a dense mist filled with illusions, where Alex had to distinguish reality from deception. Another required him to negotiate with simulated alien entities, testing his diplomacy and understanding of emotions. With each success, the princess's respect grew. She observed him closely, noting how he remained calm under pressure, how he considered others' feelings even in artificial scenarios, and how he relied on both instinct and intellect rather than just raw strength. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the crystalline clearing, Lyra motioned for him to sit beside her on a smooth, elevated rock. The air was filled with the gentle hum of the alien forest. "You are unlike any human I have encountered," she said softly, her eyes reflecting the shifting colors of the sunset. "Most humans are loud, brash, and impatient. You are different. You think before you act. You feel before you speak. And yet," she paused, looking at him with a hint of challenge in her expression. "And yet you hesitate." Alex frowned slightly. "Hesitate? About what?" Her gaze sharpened and she leaned slightly closer, her voice dropping to a near whisper. "Don't be shy, human. Say it. Do you love me?" Alex froze. The question was unexpected. He had prepared for alien politics, language barriers, and dangerous creatures, but not this. He looked at her, unsure how to respond. Was she testing him again, or was she serious? He started, then stopped. Words felt insufficient. Love was a concept familiar to humans, but expressing it across species, across worlds, felt impossible. Lyra tilted her head, waiting patiently, her eyes searching his for truth. There was no anger or impatience, only curiosity and a subtle vulnerability that made Alex realize how much courage it took for her to ask such a thing. "I am not sure how to answer," he admitted finally, his voice honest. "I respect you. I admire your courage and wisdom, and I feel something I cannot fully explain. But I do not want to say words lightly, not when they carry meaning so powerful." Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. "Wise," she said simply. "Many speak without thought. Few speak with truth." "You speak with truth. That is rare." They sat in silence for a few moments, watching the alien sunset together. Alex felt a strange calm, a sense of connection that went beyond words. Despite the strangeness of the world, despite the differences between them, he felt that he and Lyra understood each other in ways that could not be measured by language alone. Finally, she stood, her movement smooth and deliberate. "Your trials are not yet complete, but today you have shown heart, mind, and courage. Tomorrow we will continue. Perhaps by then you will be ready to answer my question fully." Alex nodded, feeling a mix of relief and anticipation. He had passed the first day of challenges, but more importantly, he had glimpsed the true nature of the alien princess, a being both strong and thoughtful, curious yet cautious, who saw humanity in ways few others had. As he settled for the night in a small chamber prepared for him, Alex could not stop thinking about her question. It was strange, unsettling, and yet exhilarating. Do I love her? He did not know. But he knew one thing: he wanted to find out. And tomorrow he would face whatever trials awaited with courage, intellect, and honesty, just as he always had. Outside, the alien world shimmered under the light of multiple moons, each reflecting a different hue on the crystalline forests. Somewhere in the distance, Lyra watched over him, thoughtful and silent, wondering if the human would ever be ready for the truth she sought, and if she herself was ready for the answers he might give. And so the first day ended, not with certainty but with possibility. In a world far from Earth, a human and an alien princess had begun a story neither could have predicted, a story of challenge, discovery, and perhaps, one day, love. The next morning, Alex woke to the soft glow of alien sunlight streaming through the crystal-like walls of the chamber. The air smelled faintly of minerals and flowers, a combination that felt strange but not unpleasant. He stretched and checked his gear. Today promised to be another day of challenges, but unlike yesterday, it was clear that these lessons would be different. Lyra met him outside the chamber, her long silver hair reflecting the morning light. She stood tall and regal, yet her expression carried a softness that surprised Alex. "Today we will explore the heart of my world," she said, her voice calm but commanding. "You will see the culture of my people, their history and their ways. You will also face tests of understanding, not of combat or logic, but of empathy and perception. Alex nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and apprehension. I am ready, he said. I will do my best. She studied him for a moment and then gestured for him to follow. They moved through the crystalline forests, the light bouncing off the plants and creating patterns on the ground like living mosaics. Birds, or creatures that resembled birds, sang melodies that seemed almost too precise to be natural, their voices harmonizing with a rhythm that Alex found strangely comforting. As they walked, Lyra began to speak of her people. We are a society that values emotion, understanding, and trust. Intelligence alone is not enough. A person must feel, observe, and respond with clarity. That is why your trials are designed to reveal more than skill. They reveal character. Alex listened carefully, absorbing every word. I understand. Humans also value intelligence, courage, and honesty, but sometimes emotion can guide actions better than logic. Lyra glanced at him with a hint of surprise. You think as we do? Few humans see the importance of emotion over instinct. You may yet prove to be exceptional. Their first stop was a festival square in the heart of the alien city. Structures of glass and crystal rose around them, each building decorated with intricate designs that seemed alive. Creatures of all shapes and sizes moved gracefully through the square, engaging in dance, music, and conversation. Alex noticed that even the smallest gestures, like the tilt of a head or the flick of a tail, carried meaning. Observe, Lyra instructed. Communication is not only spoken. Watch closely. Alex followed her gaze, noticing subtle signals among the aliens. A raised hand could signify greeting, a lowered gaze could show respect, and a circular motion of the fingers indicated agreement. He realized that much of their culture relied on observation and understanding, rather than words alone. Lyra then led him to a platform where two alien musicians played instruments Alex had never seen before. The sounds were both haunting and beautiful, and he realized that the music was not merely entertainment. It conveyed emotion, history, and even warnings to those who could understand it. You must learn to feel the music, not just hear it, Lyra said. Notice the pauses, the intensity, the rhythm. It speaks to the mind and the heart simultaneously. Alex closed his eyes and listened carefully. Slowly, he began to notice patterns, the way the melodies reflected emotion, joy, sorrow, pride, longing. He felt a connection he had never experienced before, as though the music were guiding him toward understanding something larger than himself. When he opened his eyes, Lyra's gaze was fixed on him. You are learning quickly. That is good. Their next trial tested empathy in a more direct way. Lyra led him to a small clearing where alien children were playing. One child tripped and began to cry. Alex instinctively knelt and offered a comforting hand, speaking softly in his own language. The child looked at him with wide eyes, then smiled tentatively, understanding not the words but the intent. Lyra observed closely. Empathy cannot be faked, she said. It is shown in actions, not words. Humans often speak of love or care, but few demonstrate it as you have. Alex felt a sense of pride but also humility. He realized that in this world actions spoke louder than words, and understanding the needs of others required attentiveness, patience, and genuine concern. As the day continued, Lyra introduced Alex to aspects of alien diplomacy. They visited a council of elders, where each member communicated through subtle gestures and precise language. Alex had to respond thoughtfully, choosing his words and actions carefully to avoid misunderstanding. Despite the difficulty, he impressed the council with his calm reasoning and respect for their traditions. Your people value thought and honesty, one elder said through the translation device. Yet few act with the patience you have shown here. You are remarkable for a human. Lyra's eyes gleamed with approval. See, humans are not as simple as many believe, and you have potential far beyond what most would imagine. As the afternoon sun began to fade, they moved to a high terrace overlooking a valley filled with glowing plants. The light of the multiple moons began to shimmer across the landscape, creating a surreal and breathtaking scene. Lyra turned to Alex, her expression serious yet soft. Yesterday you avoided answering my question about love, she said. Today you have shown care, courage, and understanding. These are the foundations of love. And yet there is still hesitation in you. Why? Alex looked down, considering his words. It is not hesitation out of fear, he said honestly. It is respect for your people, for you, and for what love truly means. I cannot speak lightly of something so important. Words without meaning are empty, and I want my words to carry truth. Lyra smiled faintly. Wise, many speak without thought. Few understand the weight of their words. That is why I challenge you, not to test your feelings, but to see the depth of your heart. The sun set fully, casting long shadows across the terrace. Alex felt a quiet warmth in his chest, a mixture of pride, admiration, and something unfamiliar yet compelling, a growing connection to the alien princess who had challenged him from the moment they met. You are learning, Alex, Lyra said softly. But there is one more part of today. You must face a personal challenge, one that tests courage not in battle or intellect, but in truth. Alex followed her to a small chamber, filled with mirrors that reflected not just physical forms but emotions, thoughts, and memories. Lyra gestured for him to look into the central mirror. Images appeared, moments from his life, choices he had made, challenges he had faced, and fears he had overcome. This is your soul, Lyra explained. To truly understand one another, you must be honest with yourself. Your heart cannot hide behind actions or words. It must face its own truth. Alex stared at the reflections, seeing both strength and doubt, courage and fear. He realized that love for him was not simply a feeling. It was a choice, a responsibility, and a willingness to act despite uncertainty. Lyra stepped beside him, placing a hand lightly on the mirror. Do you see now? Love is not a single word or action. It is the sum of understanding, trust, and care. And it begins with honesty, with oneself and with others. Alex nodded, feeling a clarity he had not known before. He understood why he had hesitated yesterday. He had needed to learn, to experience, and to observe before he could answer truly. Lyra's gaze met his, soft but insistent. Tomorrow I will ask again, but I am not asking for a simple word. I am asking for truth. Are you ready for that? Alex looked at her, feeling the weight of the question but also a growing certainty. Tomorrow, he said firmly, I will speak with truth. I will answer honestly, whatever the risk. Lyra's lips curved into a small approving smile. Good. Rest well tonight, human. You are learning more than I expected. Perhaps by the end of this journey, even I will be ready for your answer. As Alex settled for the night, he looked out at the glowing city, the alien moons hanging low in the sky. He realized that his journey was no longer just about exploration or study. It was about understanding, connection, and perhaps something more profound that bridged the gap between human and alien, known and unknown, and somewhere in the palace. Lyra watched over him, thoughtful and silent, wondering if the human would truly understand what it meant to care, to trust, and perhaps to love. The second day ended with promise, uncertainty, and a sense of anticipation. In a world filled with challenges, tests, and alien wonders, two beings from entirely different worlds were beginning a connection that might grow into something extraordinary. The morning air was crisp and cool as Alex stepped out onto the terrace of the palace. The alien city below shimmered in the light of the twin suns rising over distant mountains. He had grown accustomed to the alien world's beauty, but each day still held a sense of awe. Today, however, there was tension in the air, an unease that even Lyra seemed to notice. You sense it too, Alex said quietly, watching the subtle shifts in the palace guard's movements. Lyra nodded. Yes, there are whispers from another faction. They question your presence, and the humans in general. Some of my people fear your influence, Alex. He frowned. Fear? They don't know me. They don't know humans. Exactly, Lyra said. And it is your actions today that will show them your worth. Not just to me, but to all of my people. Alex straightened, feeling a mixture of pride and determination. This was no longer about personal connection. It was about trust, responsibility, and proving that humans could stand as equals to the alien race. Their first stop was the city's council chamber, a massive hall with transparent walls that looked out over the valley below. Alien elders and officials filled the room, their expressions guarded, some skeptical. Alex noticed the subtle gestures among them, tiny hand movements and shifts in posture that communicated caution, doubt, and curiosity. Lyra introduced him formally. This human is Alex, she said, her voice calm but firm. He has proven courage, intelligence, and empathy in our trials. Today he will demonstrate the abilities humans can offer as allies and companions. A murmur ran through the room. Some elders exchanged looks that suggested disbelief. Others seemed intrigued. One elder, taller than the rest with a crown-like ornament atop his head, spoke first. "You claim your human can aid us. Yet humans are fragile, untested in the ways of our world. What proof do you offer?" Alex stepped forward, meeting their gaze without hesitation. "I will not speak of proof in words alone," he said. "I will show it. My actions will speak. You may doubt humans, but if you watch closely, you will see that courage, reason, and care are not limited to species or planet." The council member raised an eyebrow, but said nothing. Instead, a large map projected itself in the center of the room, showing the surrounding territories. Red symbols indicated a rival faction advancing toward the planet's borders, threatening to disrupt peace and stability. Lyra gestured to Alex. "You will lead the strategy to protect us. Show them what humans are capable of." Alex studied the map carefully. He noted the terrain, the potential paths of advancement, and the strengths and weaknesses of both the defenders and the intruders. He drew on his human experiences, tactics learned through simulations, planning, and observation of unpredictable situations. "First," Alex said confidently, "we must use terrain to our advantage. The rivals expect a frontal approach, but we can lead them into narrow valleys where their numbers are less effective. We will place defenses strategically using decoys and traps. Patience and precision will win this battle, not brute force." Lyra watched him closely, her expression unreadable. "And the people?" she asked. "The citizens? You risk their safety." "I will prioritize protection of civilians," Alex replied. "No plan is complete without care for those we protect." The council murmured among themselves, clearly impressed. A few skeptical members still exchanged doubtful glances, but Alex's calm, methodical approach was difficult to argue against. Over the next hours, Alex coordinated with Lyra and the council, issuing orders and explaining strategies. He noticed subtle ways the aliens communicated, through gestures, tones, and even minute changes in posture. Alex adapted quickly, learning not just their language but their rhythm of action, their ways of thinking and responding. When the first wave of intruders arrived at the valley, Alex's plan was in motion. Decoys led the enemy into narrow passes where carefully placed defenses slowed their advance. Alien soldiers, trained and disciplined, followed his commands with precision. Alex moved among them, offering guidance and encouragement, demonstrating that human intuition and creativity could complement alien skill. The battle was tense, with moments of chaos, but Alex remained focused. He noticed how the aliens responded to small changes in the situation, adjusting formations, signaling silently, and coordinating without words. He mirrored their precision while adding unpredictable human tactics, creating a combination the rival faction did not anticipate. By the time the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the valley, the intruders had retreated. The human strategies combined with alien skill had saved the day. Cheers rose among the defenders, a mix of relief and admiration. Lyra approached Alex, her expression a mix of pride and surprise. "You have exceeded all expectations," she said softly. "Not only have you protected my people, but you have also shown them that humans are capable of great intelligence and bravery. Few could have done what you have done today." Alex felt a surge of satisfaction, but also humility. He knew it was not just his skill, but the collaboration with Lyra and her people that had made victory possible. "It was a team effort," he said. "We worked together." Lyra's eyes softened. "Perhaps that is why you are different. Humans often act alone or selfishly. You consider others even in battle." As they walked back to the palace, the city was alive with celebration. Citizens moved through the streets, their expressions showing gratitude and curiosity. Some approached Alex cautiously, offering gestures of thanks. He realized that through his actions, he had not only earned respect but had begun to bridge the gap between humans and this alien race. Later, in the quiet of the palace gardens, Lyra turned to him, her voice almost hesitant. "Yesterday you did not answer my question. Today you have shown qualities that go beyond words, courage, wisdom, care. Yet the question remains, do you love me?" Alex paused, considering her words carefully. He thought about the challenges he had faced, the connection he had begun to feel, and the respect he had developed for her as both a leader and a person. "Lyra," he said slowly, I feel a connection I cannot fully explain. My admiration and care for you have grown with each moment. I respect you deeply, and yes, I believe that what I feel is the beginning of something very real. But I want to be certain, and I want my words to be true, not rushed. Lyra studied him, her eyes searching for sincerity. Truth is always stronger than haste, she said softly. Few can wait for understanding before speaking. That is why I watch you, Alex. You are not like others. Alex smiled faintly. I am trying, Lyra. Trying to understand you, your people, and myself, she nodded. That is all I can ask. Perhaps one day, when both our worlds are ready, we will speak openly of what we feel. But for now, know that your actions speak more loudly than words ever could. The evening was quiet, the stars above the palace shining like scattered jewels. Alex reflected on the day's events, the tension, the strategy, the victory, and the connection with Lyra. He realized that love, respect, and trust were not just abstract ideas, they were proven in action. In courage and care for others, Lyra walked beside him, her presence both comforting and inspiring. Tomorrow, she said, you will face the final test of understanding. It is not a battle of skill or strength, but of insight and honesty. Are you prepared? Alex nodded, feeling a mixture of anticipation and determination. I will do my best. Lyra smiled faintly. Then rest well tonight, human. You have come far, and yet the journey has only begun. The truth we seek is not simple, but it is worth every step. As Alex settled into his chamber, he thought about the words she had spoken and the connection they were forming. He understood now that this journey was not just about proving human strength or intelligence. It was about building trust, understanding, and perhaps something deeper. Outside, the alien world glimmered under the light of distant stars, a realm of beauty, challenge, and mystery. And somewhere nearby, Lyra watched, thoughtful and silent, curious about the human who had faced danger, shown wisdom, and begun to bridge the gap between two very different worlds. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but for the first time, Alex felt a certainty he had never known before, that humans could be more than what aliens expected, and that his connection with Lyra was beginning to grow into something extraordinary. The morning light spilled across the palace terraces, casting soft reflections across the crystalline city. Alex stretched and prepared for the day ahead. Today promised to be unlike any before. The previous challenges had tested courage, intellect, and empathy. But now, Lyra had indicated, the trial would focus on understanding of self, of others, and of what it truly meant to connect. Lyra met him outside his chamber, her silver hair catching the sun's early glow. Her eyes, large and expressive, seemed to look straight into him. Today you will face truths, she said quietly. Truths about yourself, your feelings, and what it means to care. This is not a test of skill or knowledge. It is a test of honesty. Alex nodded, feeling a mixture of anticipation and nervousness. I understand. I'm ready. She led him to a secluded part of the palace grounds where a garden stretched in all directions. The plants were unusual, their leaves shimmering in shades of blue, green, and gold, moving slightly as if aware of those nearby. Water flowed in winding streams, reflecting the multiple suns above. The place was serene yet strange, a perfect environment for reflection. In this garden, Lyra explained, we reflect. Not with words, but with thought and feeling. You will encounter challenges that reveal truth. You may see visions of your own past, choices you have made, and possibilities you have not yet faced. You must confront these honestly, without hiding or denying. Alex felt a shiver of anticipation. Visions? He asked. Lyra nodded. They show not only what you have done, but what you are capable of. Only those who face themselves can understand others. The first vision appeared as he walked into a small clearing. A glowing orb hovered before him, projecting images in shimmering light. Scenes from his past appeared. Moments of courage, moments of failure, moments of hesitation. Alex watched quietly, feeling a mixture of pride and regret. He saw himself as a child, helping a friend who had fallen. He saw himself as a teenager, standing up to bullies and later choosing a difficult path in life that required discipline and patience. Each memory reminded him of who he was and how his choices shaped his character. Lyra's voice came softly, almost beside him. You see your past. Do you understand what it has taught you? Alex nodded. It has taught me that courage is not always physical. Sometimes it is standing for what is right even when it is difficult. Sometimes it is being patient, honest, and kind. The orb shifted, showing images of possible futures, paths he might take, mistakes he might make, victories he might achieve. Alex realized that every choice carried weight, not just for himself, but for those around him. He thought of Lyra, of the alien people he had begun to care for, and of the responsibility he now bore. "The choices we make define us," Lyra said softly, "and love, respect, and connection are shown in choices, not words alone. You must consider not only what you feel, but what you do with those feelings." Alex took a deep breath. He had grown close to Lyra, respected her courage and wisdom, and felt a connection he had not anticipated. But he knew that feelings alone were not enough. True understanding required honesty and the willingness to act on what was right. Lyra then led him to a reflecting pool, where the water's surface shimmered like liquid glass. "Look into this water," she said. "See yourself as you truly are, and then see me as I truly am." Understanding begins when one sees clearly without illusion. Alex knelt beside the pool and gazed into the water. He saw his reflection, the determination in his eyes, and the weight of responsibility he carried. Then he saw Lyra's reflection beside his own, regal yet vulnerable, confident yet searching. He realized that their connection was not just curiosity or admiration. It was respect, trust, and the beginnings of something deeper. "You have grown," Lyra said quietly, "not only in skill but in understanding. You have faced danger, shown courage, and acted with empathy, and now you are beginning to see truth, not just about yourself, but about what it means to care for others." Alex looked at her, feeling a mixture of humility and certainty. "I understand more now. I see that love and respect are not words to speak lightly. They are actions, choices, and honesty." Lyra stepped closer, her presence calm but powerful. "And yet, many still hesitate. To speak truth is not always easy. To reveal one's heart is a challenge, even for the strongest of us." Alex met her gaze, steady and sincere. "I am ready," he said. "I will speak honestly when the time comes." The next test came unexpectedly. A simulation of the previous battle appeared before them, holographic figures moving as if the conflict were happening again. Alex recognized the scenario immediately. The same intruders, the same terrain, and the same challenges he had faced. "Face it again," Lyra instructed. "But this time, lead not only with strategy but with understanding. Show empathy. Consider lives and make choices that reflect not only skill but care." Alex took a deep breath and stepped into the simulation. He adjusted his approach, guiding both humans and aliens in the holographic battlefield. He anticipated dangers, protected the vulnerable, and ensured that every action minimized harm while achieving goals. The holographic intruders were neutralized, but Alex's focus remained on collaboration and protection rather than aggression. When the simulation ended, Lyra approached, her expression thoughtful. "You lead with wisdom and care. You understand that strength alone is insufficient. This is what I hoped you would see. This is what it means to act with heart." Alex felt a quiet satisfaction. He had learned that true courage was not measured by victories alone, but by the care taken to achieve them responsibly. He also realized that his connection with Lyra had grown beyond curiosity or admiration. It was respect, trust, and the potential for something profound. As the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and violet, Lyra and Alex walked through the palace gardens in silence. The day had been exhausting, but it had brought clarity and understanding. "Tomorrow," Lyra said softly, "I will ask you again the question you hesitated to answer. I will ask for truth, not words. Are you ready?" Alex looked at her, feeling a steady certainty in his chest. "Yes," he said. "I am ready to speak honestly for the first time." Lyra nodded, a small smile touching her lips. "Good. Truth requires courage, and you have shown that courage in many ways. Tomorrow we see if your heart speaks as clearly as your actions." They stopped at the terrace overlooking the city, watching as the lights of the alien homes began to twinkle in the evening. Alex felt a quiet sense of connection, not just to Lyra, but to her people, her world, and the possibilities that lay ahead. He realized that love, respect, and understanding were not simple things. They were earned, nurtured, and proven through action and honesty. Lyra placed a hand gently on the railing beside him. "You are different, Alex. Most humans are not like you. You think, observe, and act with care. And yet—" She hesitated, her eyes searching his. "Yet I wonder if you understand the depth of what you feel for me. Tomorrow may reveal that. Alex nodded, feeling a mixture of anticipation and humility. I will speak honestly, Lyra, I promise. And I hope my words reflect what my actions already show. The night fell and the alien world glimmered under the light of distant stars. Alex lay in his chamber reflecting on the day's lessons. He understood now that the journey was no longer just about survival, courage, or intelligence. It was about truth, understanding, and the beginnings of a connection that transcended worlds. And somewhere in the palace, Lyra watched quietly, thoughtful and silent. She wondered if the human would truly speak with honesty tomorrow, and if she herself would be ready to hear the answer. The fourth day ended with anticipation, reflection, and the quiet certainty that the next day would bring a turning point. The truth awaited, and with it the possibility of a bond that could change both their lives forever. The morning light broke over the alien city, casting shimmering reflections across the crystalline towers. Alex woke with a sense of anticipation he had never felt before. Today would be different. Today he would speak honestly, without hesitation, without fear. Lyra met him outside his chamber, her silver hair reflecting the early sun. Her eyes, large and luminous, were fixed on him with an intensity that made his heart beat faster. She seemed calm, yet there was a tension in her stance that Alex recognized. She had waited for this moment as much as he had. "Are you ready, human?" she asked softly, her voice carrying both curiosity and expectation. Alex nodded, feeling a mixture of calm and certainty. "I am ready," he said. "I will speak truthfully, for the first time." Lyra gestured for him to follow, leading him to the terrace overlooking the city. The air was cool and filled with the sense of alien flora. Multiple moons hung in the sky, their light casting a serene glow across the valley. The city below hummed with life, yet here, above it all, there was a quiet intimacy that made words feel both important and fragile. "You have faced trials of courage, wisdom, and empathy," Lyra began. "You have shown understanding of my people and my world. You have acted with care and integrity, and yet, the question remains." Alex took a deep breath, recalling everything he had experienced, the trials, the visions, the battles, and the moments of quiet reflection. He thought of Lyra, her courage, her wisdom, her strength, and the moments when her vulnerability had shown glimpses of the person behind the title of princess. He realized that what he felt for her was no longer simple admiration. It was respect, care, and something that went deeper than words had ever allowed. "Lyra," he said slowly, "I have thought about your question since the first day. I have reflected on my actions, my choices, and my feelings. I understand now that love is not a word to be spoken lightly. It is shown through action, through honesty, and through care. I see you not just as a princess or a leader, but as a person, as someone extraordinary. And I feel something real, something true for you." Lyra's eyes softened, her gaze fixed on him. "Go on," she said quietly. "Do not hold back. Speak fully." Alex felt a warmth spread through him, a confidence grounded not in arrogance but in truth. "I love you, Lyra," he said clearly. "I love your courage, your mind, your heart. I respect you and your people. I care for you and I wish to stand beside you, not because it is easy, but because it is right. I will act with honesty, with patience, and with all the care I can give. And I hope you can accept that." For a long moment, silence filled the terrace. Lyra looked at him, her expression unreadable, yet there was a light in her eyes that spoke of understanding, surprise, and something deeper, perhaps recognition of her own feelings. "You speak with honesty," she said softly. "Few can do that, even among my people. You have thought, observed, and acted with truth. That is rare." Alex waited, heart pounding, unsure if she would respond in the way he hoped. Lyra took a slow step closer, her gaze never leaving his. "All this time I tested you, challenged you, and observed you. Not to see if you could survive my world, but to see if your heart could survive it too. And now you have shown me that it can. You are honest, brave, and capable of understanding not only me, but the people I care for. That is more than I expected." Alex felt a surge of relief and joy. "Lyra." She smiled faintly, the first full smile he had seen on her since their first meeting. It was warm, genuine, and full of quiet strength. "Yes, Alex, I accept your feelings. I have felt a connection since you arrived. Your courage, your honesty, your care, they have proven more than any words ever could. And now I am ready to say what I feel as well." Alex's heart leapt. You love me?" he asked, almost in disbelief. Lyra nodded, her eyes shining. Yes, human, I do. Not lightly, not without thought, but I do. And I am willing to see where this truth leads. Together, a feeling of warmth and elation spread through Alex. He realized that the journey had been more than a test of courage or skill. It had been a journey of understanding, reflection, and connection. They had each faced challenges, learned about each other, and discovered that trust and honesty could bridge even the greatest gaps between worlds. Then we will face the future together, Alex said, taking her hand gently. Whatever challenges come, whatever trials await, we will meet them side by side. I promise to act with care, respect, and honesty. Lyra squeezed his hand lightly, her gaze filled with quiet determination. And I will stand beside you, Alex. Together we will show our people that courage, understanding, and love are not limited by species or world. They are universal. As the twin suns set behind distant mountains, casting long shadows across the city, they stood together on the terrace. The air was filled with the gentle hum of the alien world, the soft rustle of plants, and the distant sounds of the city. In that moment, nothing else mattered. They had spoken truth, faced uncertainty, and chosen connection over fear. Lyra's eyes softened as she looked at Alex. You have grown, human. You have learned, faced challenges, and proven yourself, not only to me, but to everyone who doubted. And now, you have proven that love is more than a word. It is action, courage, and honesty. Alex smiled, feeling a quiet contentment. I have learned from you, Lyra. Your strength, wisdom, and care have taught me more than I ever imagined. I feel lucky to know you, and even luckier to have the chance to stand beside you. Lyra's smile deepened. Then let us walk forward together, human. Not as stranger and princess, but as equals, companions, and perhaps something more. Alex nodded, feeling a sense of completeness he had never known. The journey had been long, filled with tests and challenges, but it had led to this moment, a moment of truth, understanding, and connection. They turned from the terrace and walked through the palace gardens side by side. The alien plants glowed softly in the moonlight, and the streams reflected the stars above. Alex realized that this world, once alien and mysterious, now felt like a place where he could belong, not because he had changed the world, but because he had proven the value of courage, honesty, and care. Lyra spoke softly, her voice carrying a hint of emotion. Tomorrow we return to the city and the people will see what we have discovered. They will see that humans are not merely visitors, they can be allies, friends, and perhaps more. And we will show them that connection, trust, and care are stronger than fear. Alex nodded, feeling a quiet resolve. We will, and I will continue to prove that every day, not just in words but in actions. The night settled around them, the stars twinkling like scattered jewels. For the first time, Alex felt fully at peace, not just in the alien world but in himself. He had faced trials, learned truths, and spoken honestly, and, most importantly, he had found a connection with Lyra that promised something extraordinary. As they walked through the glowing gardens hand in hand, Alex knew that this was only the beginning. Their journey together would face challenges, uncertainties, and new discoveries, but now they would face it side by side with honesty, courage, and care as their guide. And somewhere above the palace the moons shone down, reflecting on the crystal structures and the shimmering plants, as if blessing a bond that had grown from challenge, reflection, and truth. In the end, Alex realized that the journey was never truly about the tests, the battles, or even the alien world itself. It was about understanding, of oneself, of others, and of the connection that could bridge even the vastest of worlds. And in that understanding he had found something more valuable than any victory: trust, respect, and love. Lyra looked at him, her eyes bright and filled with quiet wonder.
"Welcome to my world, Alex," she said softly.
Not just as a visitor, but as someone who belongs. Alex smiled, squeezing her hand. Thank you, Lyra, and welcome to mine. Together they turned to face the horizon where the twin suns had set and the stars began to shine. The journey was far from over, but for the first time, it felt certain they would face it together with courage, honesty, and hearts open to the possibilities of love and understanding. The story of human and alien, of trust and courage, had reached a turning point. And in that turning point, a connection had been forged, one that would guide them through the unknown, into a future built on understanding, respect, and the promise of something extraordinary.